All right, how's it going, everyone? I'm Derek, and you're watching 7-Ply Therapy. I know it's been about 2 months since I last recorded a video and uploaded, and that's been partly due to getting a new job at an outpatient clinic, and also being really sick for the past month, so I haven't gotten much skating done. And yeah, so I figured today we'd do something a little bit different. We set up a new fresh board since the one I'm currently using, it's pretty old and it served me well, but it has its fair share of like chipping on the tail and then like its razor tail, same with the nose, and because of that it's lost a lot of its pop. Since I'm relearning to skate, when I do tricks, if I'm doing a 360 flip for example, it might hit on the ground and then that's what ends up chipping them on the side. This board, it's already gripped, and that's partly because I had it recorded, but unfortunately the video didn't save, so I'm re-recording this. This is a Revive 8.0. I got it out of a mystery bundle where you paid $50 and you would get 2 mystery decks. I am going through some board madness and I want to try maybe an 825 at some point. I got an 8.125 and we'll see how that goes. But if I go to an 825, then I have to get new trucks. And so, yeah. Anyways, today I want to continue with the topic of depression since we didn't finish that last time. And then we'll see where things go from there. I want to remind everyone that these videos are not meant to be therapy, but a source of information and skill building. So if you are experiencing suicidal ideations or a mental health crisis, please reach out to a loved one or call 988 for 24/7 support. Before we get started, another thing I forgot to mention, I am using Jessup because Jessup is free and I'm all about free stuff. I used to, back in 2000s, I used to skate Shorty's Black Magic grip, which I guess the equivalent of it today would be Mob maybe. But yeah, I also, again, with me not having a lot of money, I want to save wherever I can, and free grip is free grip. And also, I've read a lot that Jessup doesn't destroy shoes as much as like Mob, so I want my shoes to last longer. Anyways, let's get talking about depression. So last time I mentioned ways to fight off depression. What's important, and you'll see as we go through this video, is that a lot of the things that I mentioned in the last video will be related to some of the symptoms that it takes to be diagnosed with depression. Now, there's 9 symptoms you can meet criteria for in the realm of major depressive disorder, but you only have to meet 5 of those symptoms, and you have to meet at least criteria for one of the next 2 that I'm about to mention, which I also mentioned in the last video. That would be symptom 1, you're very depressed or sad, very melancholy. And symptom number 2, it would be you lose the ability to feel pleasure and excitement and joy and things that you used to enjoy and find pleasure in. So for the diagnosis of major depressive disorder, you have to meet criteria for one of those 2 or both, along with a few others, because it has to be 5 symptoms in total, like I said. So you can meet those 2 plus 3 other ones, or you can meet one of those, either one of those, plus 4 other ones, right? Is that? Yeah, that's top truck. I'm gonna put this here. So symptom number 3 would be you're losing weight due to lack of appetite, or you're gaining weight due to an increase in appetite. Kind of goes hand in hand with what I mentioned on the last video about taking care of our diets. So that's something that you should keep an eye out for. Increases or decreases in your weight. That might be a sign of depression. Symptom number 4 would be hyper insomnia or insomnia, meaning you're either not sleeping at all, or like you can't fall asleep, or not tired, or the opposite, you're sleeping all the time, way too much. Again, I mentioned this in the last video, the importance of sleep and why you want to have a good sleep hygiene routine, and you want to set boundaries on how much you sleep, right? Symptom number 5, and these are not in any particular order. It's just kind of like I'm just kind of going through them the way they're in order on the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders, right? 5, which is what we use to diagnose patients. Way too distracted. What's cool is when I grip my board, I actually got it all in one take, which is, I guess, pretty good considering I haven't gripped a board in over a year. So this one is gonna get repurposed for, I guess, a cruiser deck or something like that. Anyways, symptom number 5 is there we go. This is the nose. Symptom number 5 is you have psychomotor retardation or psychomotor agitation. Either you're doing things like really quickly and abruptly, or like I said, psychomotor agitation, retardation, which is you're moving really slowly. So if you notice any of your friends are kind of like, they look really depressed and they're just like, yeah man, I guess, that might be a sign or one of their symptoms. And at this point you might be thinking like, well, everything you're saying sounds to be like in the extremes. Like you're either losing weight or gaining weight because of appetite. You're either sleeping a lot or sleeping too little because of whatever, or you're either moving really slow or moving like really fast, agitated. And I promise you that's only just those 3 symptoms. So yeah, symptom number 6 would be you're feeling really fatigued or low energy. Very, very, very common I guess symptom of depression. So if you notice your friends are just like, nah man, I don't want to go skate today, I'm just whatever, like I'm just gonna stay in, then that again is probably a big sign of depression. Partly why I mentioned in my last video, you want to be active and doing things because it makes you feel better, it makes you feel good. Yeah, it's in order. That was symptom number 6. Symptom number 7 would be you're experiencing thoughts of worthlessness or excessive guilt. In other words, you're having thoughts kind of like, oh, why do I even skate? I suck at this. And like, there's no point. It's not even as fun as it used to be. Like I don't enjoy it as much. Things like that. And that's the depression talking. 100% telling you that's your depression. It's not who you really are, if you think about it. I mean, part of your depression is who you are, right? But it's like understanding that this is like something that's holding me back, right? Yeah. Just want to make sure the screws in are all the way because these are shorter hardware and I don't want it to start coming loose and then lose a nut or something like that. Symptom number 8 is you're struggling with focus. It's hard to concentrate on things, whether it's your skating, whether it's reading, whether it's watching TV, or anything else along those lines. And then finally, symptom number 9, you're experiencing thoughts of suicide, or talking a lot about death and experiencing a lot of thoughts about death. Now I'm not going to get super deep into suicide because I want to make a video about that. More likely than not, I don't think it'll be the next one. The next one, I think I'll talk about what we call cognitive distortions or unhelpful thinking styles, and then I think I'll talk about suicide. But again, like I said, if you are experiencing symptoms of suicide, please reach out to a loved one or call 988, which is a support line. And if they feel like you need someone there, they'll send someone to your address to kind of make sure you're okay and everything's okay. So yeah, continuing with the topic of depression. What was I gonna say? For depression to be diagnosed, obviously, like I said, you have to meet criteria for 5 of those symptoms. One of them being either too depressed or losing pleasure and joy in things that you used to enjoy. For it to be diagnosed, you have to rule out any other medical conditions, like vitamin D deficiency, like low levels of vitamin D, And then also like hypothyroidism that can cause symptoms of depression, things like that. You also want to rule out symptoms of depression due to substances. When somebody's using substances or quitting substances, either or, they tend to have a lot of symptoms very similar to depression, like low energy, maybe a lot of intrusive thoughts and things like that. So just be aware of those things. And so yeah, let's talk a little bit, I guess, about the kind of therapy I do with my patients. I was trained in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which cognitions are your thoughts or beliefs, and behaviors are your actions. And it was created or founded by Aaron Beck. Aaron Beck had this theory that our world when we're young and our experiences, and not just when we're young, when we're older too, kind of develop a system of core beliefs, which are beliefs that rule our thought processes and whatnot. So in some of those, he called it the cognitive triad. And what it is you're having thoughts of like either hopelessness, like that would be the corner of where we're talking about like our view of the future. Like, oh, I don't think my future looks very good. Like, nothing's gonna get better. Like, everything's just sucks. So what's the point of even trying, right? Then we have on another corner, that was helplessness. Then on another corner, we have feelings of unlovability, right? Which would be our view of the world. How could anyone love me? How could anyone, like, accept me? I'm worthless. Right? And then the last one is thoughts of worthlessness, or a core belief of worthlessness, which contributes to depression, which comes from the view of ourselves, how we see ourselves. So again, the cognitive triad is how we view ourselves, how we view our world, and how we view our future. A good way to remember it is for hopelessness, you can think of hard, the word hard. For unlovability, you can think of the word urethane, like wheels, urethane wheels. And then for worthlessness, just think of wheels. So hard urethane wheels. Now, like I was talking about that triangle, Beck developed this idea that we have our behaviors, our emotions, and our thoughts, right? And they all interact with each other. And we can't just change our emotions. We can't just wake up and say, oh, today I'm gonna feel happy and it's gonna be a great day. Sure, we can put that out into the world and it can be helpful to kind of carry out our day, but it's not that simple. Like, we can't just change emotions just like that. So his thought process was we can change the two bottom ones, our behaviors and our thoughts, and that those in turns, if we can make those two a more positive thing, like if depression, behavior-wise, depression's telling me don't go out, just stay inside, and we do the opposite. We go out, we skate with our friends and do things, and then our thoughts are telling us like nobody loves you, like nobody like why would you, like what's the point of even skating, things like that. And we challenge those thoughts with, well, if nobody loved me, then my friends wouldn't invite me to skate with them, and if I really sucked, then like I wouldn't be in this situation where my friends are again inviting me, right, because they want to skate with somebody at their level. So that's what we start challenging. So we start disproving those thoughts with past true evidence, right? Not subjective evidence. And then that will help us change the way we feel our emotions, change our behavior, change our thoughts. We can change our emotions at the very top. And it's easy to remember. Just think of bet. Those are some pretty important things to know. So yeah, got a board set up. You can take it out to ride. The reason I put the light bolt in the back and not the front like most people do is because I like having a clean nose. And in the early 2000s, we grew up with marking, usually with spray paint, a line on the back so we could know what our toe was. And so that just kind of reminds me of the 2000s when I started skating, like early 2000. I guess we'll wrap up with where can depression stem from. So it can be biological, meaning your parents have like the predisposition, they struggle with depression, right? And they pass those genes to you. And then we have our experiences of the world, our self-view based on our experiences with others, and then our ideas or views of the future based on our depression only focusing on negative experiences. The other thing is, sometimes depression is one of those things where medication might be necessary. And the way I like to explain it to my patients at Skate is, think of medication like pads and helmet, right? Some people, they can skate without pads and a helmet and they're completely fine. You can learn to skate without those things and you can be fine. But some people feel like they need to use pads and a helmet, and just like medication, sometimes you take medication for a while and then you get really good at therapy because you're taking the medication and it's not holding you back because the symptoms are overwhelming. And then some other people, even if they do therapy, they need the medication for the rest of their lives. Just like some skaters feel like they need those pads and helmets to feel comfortable and safe and be able to skate. No judgment. Some of us are different than others. That's just the way things are. Some of us need medication, some of us don't, and it's completely okay. But yeah, I think those are the biggest points to make about depression. Hopefully on our next video, we'll talk a little bit more about cognitive distortions, like I said, which are unhelpful thinking styles, and those are the part of the symptoms. Like I said, we have these like unrealistic views of ourselves, of our future, of the world, and things like that. And then we'll also hopefully talk a little bit about how to challenge those thoughts. I know I said, oh, you need factual evidence, but I'll give some better examples.